I choose to kick this off with standby music while I go and put this link in a bunch of places. Of course, if my kitten walks on my phone, that'll get kind of hard. Burr, 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 burr. Gonna do my best here. The baby may not let me. Where are you going? Don't walk on the tablet. Please don't eat the cord. Please, no. Purr, purr, purr. I cannot lock my phone while it's playing YouTube. But I refuse to sit in silence. Yeah. You okay, buddy? Yeah, he's fine. You good? The markings on his face give him a permanent, slight sadness. You're trying to get off the charger thing. Here, play out. Look, go play with this. There you go. Here he goes. Where'd he go? There he is. Can't get it to load on Tumblr. Looks like it didn't load right over there either. Why does that never work for me? Buddy, what are you doing? Aha. Let's try this. You okay, buddy? You going up? No? You can do it. You've climbed things taller than this. No! He's fine. He's having fun. Any sound effects that you hear that don't sound like they're part of the podcast are part of the kitten. There we go. I should say I'll also be messaging a friend through this because she has been my support so far. And I could not possibly rob her of my immediate reactions via typing. So I just realized I had my face faced away from the tablet because you're looking at my baby. He's running around on the floor. Okay. Okay. I think I have stalled long enough. I have the snacks. I have my water. I went to the bathroom. Baby's got spaz mode. Okay. That's what my parents always called it. My friend calls it the zoomies. But we haven't had any catnip. stuck. You got it. Oh no! Are you stuck? Oh, he's fine. Okay. Hopefully he'll chill out and just come sit on my lap. But oh well. Oh yeah, do I want to be able to see the chat? Oh good, I do want to see the chat. Hello! That's gonna mean I want to... I also want to say, spoil me and perish. Please don't spoil me. I know next to nothing. Okay, Owl, Mize loves you. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Mize loves you. Ow. She can't stay. They can't stay because they don't want to be spoiled. Ow. Scratch my finger. I love you. Actually, I think maybe I don't want to have the chat open while I'm listening to episodes. Because I don't want to get interrupted. So let's put this back. Okay. The first like 10 minutes of this is just Kinetic plays with the baby ASMR to Wii music. Okay. Putting away the keyboard. Popping over here. Look, I already have thumbnails. 10 out of 10 would die for Martin, by the way. Okay. Let's get spooky. Back up. Back up. Okay. I do not own the Magnus Archives. I'm not affiliated officially with them.
Magnus Archives.
I'm just digging their stuff. I apologize in advance for when I have to pause this a lot. Nope, don't touch it!
Episode 39.
He's good.
Infestation.
Do you want to get cozy? Do you want to snuggle? Infestation. It's a name that doesn't put me in a great place, given how the last one ended. I'm messaging my friend a lot too. Don't chew my cords.
Almost. Got it! Oh. Shut up and get the extinguisher. See you two get the goddamn
Great.
thing too. Now!
Hey, get too many.
Just keep going.
Go. I just let me think.
You keep punching. It's gonna get worse. John!
This way. Come on, this way. This way.
Look out! Ah!
There we go. Recording again. Did you get it?
There. And I just want to point out that I didn't make this much of a fuss.
I think your removal was substantially cleaner.
I'm still not sure why you have this. Drinking in the archive?
What? No, it's for worms.
What?
For pulling the worms out of people like now.
What?
I used to carry around a knife, but I started thinking that cutting into someone laterally wasn't really the most efficient way to get them out. Besides which, they seem to be quite slow burrowing in a straight line, so, given their size, the corkscrew just seemed to be the better option.
Corkscrew.
Look, you guys got to go home every day, okay? I didn't. I've been thinking for a long time about what to do when, well, you know, this happens.
Thank you.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, the room's sealed. I checked it myself when I moved in.
Climate controlled as well, strong door, soundproof. These old files are far better protected than we ever were. All right. I'll grant place to lay low, but
They could still come in through the aircon.
not easily. And not en masse. It is actually safe. Except, of course, that we're trapped.
Yeah. Sorry.
Why record it?
What?
Before, in the office, it was stupid going to the tape recorder like that.
Where's
And then
Tim?
when you dropped it out there...
I said I was sorry.
Where's
If I'd known
Tim?
Mum had another one stashed in here, I
No,
never would have...
It's fine, I just don't understand. I thought you hated the damn thing. You're always going on about
I
it.
do. I did. I don't want to become a mystery. I refuse to become another goddamn mystery.
What?
Look, even if you ignore the walking soil sack out there and the fact that we are probably minutes from death, there is still so much more happening
I'm not
here.
entirely sure that we can ignore the...
Every real statement just leads deeper into something I don't even know the shape of yet. And to top it all, I still don't know what happened to Gertrude. Officially, she's still missing. But Elias has no help, and the police are pretty clear that the wait to call her dead is just a formality. If I die, worm food or something else, whatever, I'm going to make damn sure the same doesn't happen to me. Whoever takes over from me is going to know exactly what happened.
You don't think that would put them off?
I hope so. Only an idiot would stay in this job.
Wouldn't that make you an idiot?
Yes, Martin, that was my point.
Can you see what's going on out there?
Ish. When did we last clean these doors?
What can you see?
Worms seem to have backed off a bit. There's a few lurking in the corners. Oh, hey! There's the other tape recorder.
Any sign of Prentice?
No, it looks like they're... waiting, I think.
For what?
Tim, maybe?
Oh, God.
I think he was out at lunch.
Quick, someone call him. Tell him not to
No
come back
signal in
inside.
here. We just have to hope he heard the noise.
John, what do you mean by real statements?
You know what I mean. The ones that have weird wrinkles, or that just seem to have something solid to them. They all have one thing in common.
They don't record digitally.
And we have to use the tape recorder.
Oh!
Stage.
Oh!
My laptop, I almost don't bother.
I get it! Okay. I'm gonna message friend. Okay. Oh wait, are you like in the... Hold on. Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna type less. So that we get these specific ones that stand out because they don't... That's so freaky! They don't record... Okay, because they don't record digitally, so they like... I guess it's been like... Okay, so narratively you're like, okay, so these ones, we just get them because they're relevant. But he'd like mentioned before about the like not recording digitally thing. Cool, I'm sorry, I don't have the chat open. Okay, yeah, there you are. Yeah, you have the same icon. Okay. For this episode. Okay. Okay, like they mentioned before about, also, this is my voice, hello. They'd mentioned before about how he has to use this one, or he has to use the crummy recorder because the other ones won't record. And I was confused as to what all that, but like if, okay, so I'm more eloquent in text than I am in speech. And you know how ineloquent I am in text. So, hi, baby. Baby's over my shoulder. So, okay. And I guess that would make some sense as to, like, he gets research done on all of these. But if the backlog is so huge, why would you do research on any of them? But if he does research on these specifically because they're particularly spooky, as he would hate for me to say. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm trying to, like, draw the face that is relevant to, like, who's speaking. I'm doing my best. It's a lot of hopping around because they're talking a lot. Okay. 21. There's still, like, 15 minutes left. Hey, baby. Baby's up on my chest now. He's walking across. Set in front of my face. To my other shoulder. He's purring in my ear. Alright, I have a shoulder baby. It's so freaky. Okay. I mean, this whole thing is freaky. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going.
There, I see him. What?
Tim!
Tim's outside.
Oh, God, he doesn't know. He doesn't see them. Tim, look out.
Soundproof,
Tim,
I can't hear you.
What is he doing? No, Tim, just run. Leave it alone.
No.
Oh, God, turn around. Just turn around.
There she is.
I want to draw Tim's face.
Wait, Sasha, no! Watch out for the tape!
Frick!
Okay, test. What are you doing on the floor? Statement of Joe Spooky regarding sinister happenings in the downtown.
Tim, look out.
Oh, jeez.
Sasha?
Behind you, run.
Speak in front of him. Oh, no. Frick! Did you get him? Did you get him? I'm dying.
Right, there we go. Martin, what do you see? What? I can't really stand up yet. I need you to describe what's going on, for the record.
Yeah, sure. So, Sasha tackled Tim, and there was a kind of struggle, but she made it out of the archives. That was about 2 minutes ago, and she's gone to get help. Probably, I mean, she couldn't, she wouldn't just run, so...
Did it look like any of the worms got her before she left?
No, I don't think so. Tim neither, I think. It was hard to tell after she tackled him. There was a lot of movement and shouting and wriggling.
Stay with it, Martin. Tim. What happened to Tim?
They got split up and he ran into the office. You said that's where you made the hole. When you were recording, they all came through, so... He's dead. He's dead in there, and he's covered in worms.
We don't know that.
I didn't even draw him yet.
Maybe he found the spare CO2.
Spare? What? Where? I never saw
Oh,
any.
I hid them in old case file boxes.
What? Why?
Well, so the worms didn't know they were there. Look, I know it's stupid.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it is.
I love you, Martin.
They're just unclassified parasites. They don't have consciousness. They can't plan. They're just an unthinking infection.
Seriously. Why do you do that?
Do what?
Push the skeptic thing so hard. I mean, it made sense at first, but now, after everything we've seen, after everything that you read, I hear you recording statements and you just dismiss them. You tear them to pieces like they're wasting your time. But half of the rational explanations you give are actually far more far-fetched than just accepting it was a ghost or something. I mean, for God's sake, John, we are literally hiding from some kind of worm queen thing. How could you possibly still not believe?
Of course I believe. Of course I do. Have you ever taken a look at the stuff we have in artifact storage? That's enough to convince anyone. But even before that,
I'm feeling a lot of things
why do
right
you
now.
think I started working here? It's not exactly glamorous. I've always believed in the supernatural. Within reason, I mean. I still think most of the statements down here aren't real.
Of the hundreds I've recorded, we've had maybe 30, 40 that go on tape. Now those, I believe.
It's not the word person.
Then why? Because I'm scared, Martin. Because when I record these statements, it feels like I'm being watched. I lose myself a bit, and then when I come back, it's like if I admit there may be any truth to it, whatever's watching will know somehow. Skepticism, feigning ignorance, it just felt safer. Well, it wasn't.
I don't know how to words for this.
No, it wasn't. Still, it's not my fault we're going to be eaten by worms. Speaking of, can you see anything? How much? They're just there. How many? Too many. And more keep coming up through the floor. I didn't think they could get through.
I'm so stressed that he can't stand up.
No, I can't. Oh, there she is. What's she doing?
Oh, there she is.
I don't know. She's messing with the boxes. She's holding one up and... Oh, what? She's destroying them. Sort of. Well, I don't really know what the stuff coming out of her mouth is, but I think we should probably burn them. Right.
Jeez.
Right.
So casual, like, oh, it's already so terrible.
Why are you here, Mark?
Baby's falling asleep.
Well, Prentice is out there and you can't run. I mean, in the archive, in general. Why haven't you quit? You're giving me my review now. No. We're clearly doing a whole heart-to-heart thing, and
Oh.
be told the question's been bothering me. You've been living in the archives for 4 months. Constant threat of this, sleeping with a fire extinguisher and a corkscrew. Even you must be aware that that's not normal for an archiving job.
Martin, you tough
Why are
little
you still
dude.
here? Don't really know.
Wee bear must be protected.
I just am. It didn't feel right to just leave. I've typed up a few resignation letters, but I just couldn't bring myself to hand them in. I'm trapped here. It's like I can't move on, and the more I struggle, the more I'm stuck. Martin,
That's a lot to unpack. Can we do that?
you're not... You didn't die here, did you?
What?
What? No, what? No, I just... No, just the way you phrased that. Did you think I was a ghost? No, it's... No, it's just...
He does believe in crap.
These statements have caught you in, well,
He is a
I'm there
conspiracy
too.
nut.
we all are, I think.
That's weirdly funny to me.
A ghost? Really? Shut up, Martin.
Oh, he wasn't.
Tell me again.
You're
please.
kidding!
You did bring a tape recorder. I just thought John would appreciate as many supplementary recordings as possible for the record.
Well, for the record, if we don't do
I-
something now, it won't matter either way.
So these are the worms he and
The
Martin have been
one
going to.
terrorizing us for months.
Is
Yes.
it Elias?
To be honest, I always
Hold on.
thought they were just overreacting.
Gonna pause. Also gonna check up on the chat. Because I haven't been looking at it. Oh, baby's falling asleep. I don't know if you can hear him purring. Oh, baby, you're gonna fall in that position. Hold on. I'll get you some butt support. Here we go. Okay, you're good. Okay. Baby updates are vital. He's falling asleep. It is iconic. Okay. Yes, it's Elias. Okay, cool. There's like a 10-second delay between the chat and me. So, hold on. Thirsty. Ah! Coaster. It's okay, baby. Go back to sleep. All you have to do is, like, pet his face. And he starts going down. There he goes. Okay, let's keep going.
Other staff have seen them around, but no one's reported any aggressive behaviour or anything like that. You know how those two are. John puts on a good show, but
Those
sometimes
two.
I swear he's worse than Martin.
Look, Elias, I don't know what you think is going on, but I've just hiding. Tim might be dead, and the others...
Well, of course. The fire alarm was a good move, but it does mean most staff have evacuated, so we'll have to deal with them ourselves.
There are thousands of them, Elias.
Not quite what I meant. On John's insistence, I recently changed the archive's fire suppression system to use carbon dioxide. Should have done it
So
years
why
ago.
hasn't it gone off?
Because there isn't an actual fire.
Right. Can we set it off manually? I think John's got a lighter somewhere.
He's not smoking again, is he? Anyway, it shouldn't be necessary. There is a manual release a few floors down.
John used to smoke?
Wait, will it hurt Martin or John?
Almost certainly. I'm not a doctor, but I know dumping a lot of CO2 on people isn't generally considered a good idea. I really don't want to have to find another archivist so quickly after Gertrude, but from what you say, it might be a mercy. You know the situation best, so...
Let's go.
I thought that wall was meant to be solid.
So did I. We don't have any sort of weapon, do we?
I mean, I suppose we could
Don't
use...
say the corkscrew.
Okay.
How many of them are outside the door?
No, I can't see because the window is covered in words.
Right. Damn. Well, Martin, I guess this is... Hi, guys.
Tim.
What the hell? I thought...
You made it!
Funny story, really. I ran into the office, worms everywhere, horrible death and everything. Tripped and fell into some...
Fine. Holy crap, are you kidding me? Holy crap. My heart's not pounding at all. Fine. I don't know what Tim's face is, but we're gonna find out.
Boxes, and there were like 20 cans of gas in there.
Are you alright? You seem a bit...
Fine, gas, bit lightheaded. Not a lot of ventilation in the tunnels. Come on.
Into the tunnels?
Yeah, actually, not that many worms in there anymore. I think they're mostly gone into the archive. Although the ones down here are faster.
Is it connected to that other tunnel?
You're not bitten, are you?
No, I don't think so. Have a look.
Yes, alright, Tim. You look fine. Put them back.
No, he needs a swoop.
Can you walk, John? No, I can limp.
Then let's go.
Martin, could you pass me the tape recorder?
Sure. I think it's running out, though.
Fine. I suppose I can turn it back on when we're being eaten alive.
Why do you have a second tape recorder, Martin?
Oh, well,
Are there
I've been using it to record myself.
Martin Viles?
I write poetry.
Oh.
And I think the tapes have a sort of lo-fi charm.
Give me the forbidden Martin poetry.
I see.
They're just quiet.
Okay, John. I know you want to know what's been happening.
Holy crap.
If you're still alive after this, the worms are on the upper floor. Not as many as down in the archive, but enough.
Oh, the archive's in the basement?
I set the fire
Oh, okay,
alarm
so that's supposed
so
to...
everyone's
Okay.
evacuated except me and Elias. I didn't see any signs of the fire brigade, but I haven't been near a window in a while. There was I guess you call it a wave of worms. I got cut off from Elias. I hope he made it to the fire system, but who knows? Maybe everyone's dead already. I've had to retreat into artifact storage. That should tell you something about how bad it is out there. God, I hate this place. Did I ever tell you I first joined the Institute as a practical researcher? I had to analyse and investigate all the stuff in here. Take notes after sleeping in the rusted chair, write in the memory book, all that sort of thing.
That sounds hazardous.
I after 3 months. Would have quit, but couldn't afford to back then. Never understood why they keep this stuff secret. I mean, we've enough in here to send any skeptic packing, but it's just locked away. I asked Elias about it once, but he just muttered something about funding and mission statements. He's good at changing the subject, isn't he? Sorry.
Elias
I'm
is
rambling.
sketch to me.
No worms, though. So that's good.
How anime do I want her to be?
Hey, I found that table you were talking about. Don't really see what all the fuss is about.
Frick.
Just a basic optical illusion. Nothing special, just...
Oh, it's going staticky. No.
Just
No.
well, John, I think there's someone here. Hello? I see you. Show yourself.
It's okay, baby. Baby didn't like that. I didn't like that. I don't know what that was. Please tell me she's fine. Please tell me she's fine.
Hello? I see you.
What is happening?
I see you.
What is happening? What is happening?
Update. I don't know how long we've been down here. These tunnels are a maze. We don't know where we are. We have four of the... I'm getting to that. Martin has disappeared. Tim was right about there being fewer worms down here, but they are much faster, more aggressive. None of us have been hit yet, but during one of the more alarming encounters, Martin ran off. We were behind him, I think. He didn't think at all. Tim was with me, and my legs slowed me down. He must have taken a turn we didn't see or something. We lost him. But Tim has managed to find what looks to be an actual trapdoor, so we won't need to bludgeon our way through any more drywall. I'm recording this in case
the trapdoor opens back into the archives, Apprentice is there to kill us.
In as many words, yes. Tim.
I can hear the alarm.
All right.
No. Frick, 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 frick. I'm in distress. Oh, it's the end of the episode. No, baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Podcast distributed by
Sorry.
rustyquill.com and
God,
licensed under a Creative Commons
All is
Attribution
fine.
Non-Commercial Share-alike International License. Today's episode was written and
The
performed
theme song
by
for this is
Jonathan
going to be his
Sims.
lullaby by
It was
the end.
produced and directed by Alexander James.
Oh my god.
To comment on episodes,
Marching poetry is patron content? What?
Visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us on iTunes. Visit us on Facebook. Tweet us on
All
Twitter.
of your
Rusty
smiley
Quill,
faces.
or
I'm
email us
dying.
at mail@rustyquill.com.
I'm going right into the next one. I don't know how long you're staying. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. I'm so stressed. Holy crud. Fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Fine. Well, baby's head's in the way now. Shoot. Adjusting. Okay. I'm fine.
Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archives.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Fine.
Episode 40,
Looks terrible.
Human Remains.
That's not encouraging. It's not encouraging. It's not encouraging. It's not encouraging. If any of them die, how am I supposed to finish my drawing of them?
Statement of John, as your boss, I'm telling you to go. Oh, fine. But you look like a mummy. You need rest. Our friends in the hazmat suits gave me a clean bill of health.
I assume it's over.
Only holes notwithstanding. And they seemed quite keen to quarantine anyone showing even the slightest sign of infection. It's just pain. The paramedics said your lungs need fresh air. Tim's as well. It's fresh enough down here.
Okay,
We
Tim
could
is
fill
fine.
With 1,000 rotting worm carcasses. Surely we could do this somewhere else. No. I need to be here. Keep watch. I need to be sure. John.
Also, I don't trust you anymore, Elias.
I went with the ECDC people when they took her away. I watched her body burn. Jane Prentice is dead.
Okay.
Relax.
There's
That's
that.
why I can't. When Martin found... That's a matter for the police.
Martin.
Fine. I'll go home as soon as I have everyone's statements. Very well.
We're gonna get everybody?
Statement of Elias Bouchard, head of the Magnus Institute, regarding the
Oh, we're starting with...
infestation
Okay.
by the entity formerly known as Jane Prentice. Statement recorded direct from subject 29th July 2016. Whenever you're ready. There isn't a lot to tell for my
real quick pause. I will go off on you later on what John was saying about how he feels when he reads statements. Gotta add to my conspiracy board. Also, said the whole thing about him being the whole true believer thing, and then ghost bit. Anyway.
This afternoon, just after lunch,
I hope there's animatics of that.
going over some budgets in my office as I normally do on a Tuesday when the fire alarm started going off. It was annoying, but not too worrying at first. I packed my work away and began to calmly head towards the evacuation point when Sasha came barreling through the door, babbling about worms and clutching a tape recorder. I told her that whatever was wrong should wait until we were out of the building, as there may be a fire. She told me she had set off the fire alarm to get everyone out, and that you and Martin and Tim were currently trapped by Jane Prentice. Obviously, this got my attention, and I suggested she turn the tape recorder on largely so this sort of debrief wouldn't be necessary. Did you not get the tapes?
No, there was some sort of problem. Sasha told me the tape was lost.
Well,
Suspicious.
I explained to her about the recently installed fire suppression system and said that as there was no actual fire, we'd need to activate it manually. We hurried down and it was clear everyone else had already evacuated. I reached the ground floor when... well, I know I've often seemed dismissive of your concerns before. In fact, I was getting ready to raise the issue of Martin's continuing to live in the Institute's basement, especially as I believe he's been stealing fire extinguishers. But
He definitely has.
honestly, I didn't fully appreciate what you've been talking about until I turned that corner and we saw what I can only describe as a tidal wave of filth rushing towards us. I feel somewhat ashamed to admit I didn't really pay any attention to Sasha as I ran and must have lost her at some point. We became separated. I composed myself and decided on a more roundabout route to the boiler room. Luckily, it seemed that things were mainly concentrated in that one mass, leaving the other corridors largely vacant. It took me 10 minutes, maybe 15, but I made it to one close call. The sight of rows and rows of huge red CO2 canisters was certainly something of a comfort. I do apologize that it took me quite so long to figure out how to actually work the system. If I'd been quicker...
It's fine. We're alive.
Yes.
Does that mean everyone?
I turned on the fire suppression system, and that's when I heard the scream.
That was my guts.
I can't really describe it, but well, I'm sure I don't need to. You were a lot closer to it than I was.
Last thing I remember before blacking out. Tens of thousands of things without mouths screaming as one.
Yes. Horrible sound. Anyway, I called the fire department, ambulance, and a contact at the ECDC who had previously been involved in the Prentice investigation. Once I was sure most of the gas would have dissipated, I headed down to the archives to see what had happened. Sasha was all there, but you and Tim were in bad shape.
What happened to her?
A dozen worms had been going into each of you when the carbon dioxide killed them. Bloody
Yes. Thank you. I remember everything from when the ambulance arrived. Quarantine, bandaging, etc.
Quarantine.
When did Martin get back?
It was about an hour after they'd taken you and Tim away. They were prepping Prentice's corpse for disposal when Martin burst out of that trapdoor you found, screaming that he'd found a body. So we called the police.
Found a body.
Tell me what happened to Gertrude Robinson.
John, how many times do we need to go over this?
Never got it on tape.
You can barely stand. Why didn't we do this tomorrow? Fine. On the 15th of March last year, I had a query about a statement one of our researchers was after and went down to the archives. Gertrude wasn't there, but her desk was covered in blood. Called the police and there was a huge search, but there was no sign of Gertrude, alive or dead.
Dang.
She didn't have any assistants, so there were no witnesses, and no one saw or heard anything. The police tested the blood and confirmed the DNA matched to Gertrude, though I don't know why they had it on file. They judged there to be almost That's gallon of blood far more than the human body can lose and survive, so I assume she was dead and left the investigation to the police.
They had her blood on file, or her blood type on file. Did they have any of her blood on file? Did she fake her death? That's what I'm saying. Did she fake her death?
Martin finding her body in the tunnels is
Conspiracy board.
to me as it is to you.
What?
Right.
Okay, didn't fake her death. She's dead.
Can you send him to?
Tim.
Do you need much? I'd really like to go home.
I sympathise. It won't take long. I need the parts that weren't on tape at the time.
Sure. Just quarantine, you know. Not as much fun as it sounds.
You were certainly in there longer than I was. Everything all right?
Yeah. I just made some joke about itching, and suddenly they were doing a whole bunch more tests.
Well,
Rip.
is
I
one of
know. I was trying to lighten the mood. I'm fine, though. Except for the holes. The pain. The blood. And the nightmares. Could have been worse, though, eh? A couple of minutes.
Yes.
He sounds so tired.
Anyway, statement of Timothy Stoker, archival assistant at the Magnus Institute, regarding the infestation by the entity formerly known as Jane Prentice.
Tried to make him the pretty one.
Statement recorded direct from subject, 29th of July, 2016. Just take it from when you got back from lunch.
Well, I could tell something was wrong as soon as I got back. It was quiet. I mean, it's normally quiet, but it was dead quiet. I spotted the tape recorder lying on the ground and went over to see if it
Be an
was
idiot.
damaged. And as I was checking it, I heard Sasha shouting. It's a bit of a blur, to be honest, because when I turned around, there she was. Prentice. Her face so full of holes, it's like
The worst jump
my
scare.
eyes are up here, but they're not, you know? They're just...
I just. Okay, I was trying to draw him as a bit of a frat boy, but like. That should be hitting me so hard. I'm sorry. Okay, I barely know this idiot, but I love him now. Anyway, continue.
Tried to say something, but I couldn't really understand her through all that. So, I could see the worms were coming.
Okay, stop. That's like spooky as all heck, but like. They're cute, but they're not. I'm crying a bit. I might just be stressed from the last episode. I'm gonna catch up on your thing for a second. So $10 a month you can hear us, but for real. I don't want to be one of those people. What if I pay for like 1 month and then just binge his poetry? Oh my gosh. Oh, this and Dungeons and Daddies. I want to be a patron. So, cause for bonus content. I want the bonus content. Okay. Not the Q&A now. Okay. Almost whistled. Okay. Okay, I'm good. Back in series mode. Okay.
Oh, the walls everywhere. The whole "we're safe inside the archive" thing? Not so much. I don't know what I was going to do. I think I was going to try and hit her, but that's when Sasha knocked me to the floor. It was a good move, actually. Prentice didn't seem to expect it. We crushed a lot of worms when we fell. They were slow to react. We were running before they really went for us. I mean, all this happened in the space of a few seconds, so I'm not exactly certain. Sasha had to basically drag me behind her. I saw the shelf in front of us was about to topple. There were so many worms on it, so being the hero I am, I let go of her hand and told her to go get help. She made it out of the main door. I turned to run into the office. was just trying to get a door between me and Prentice. I didn't know that's where you made the first hole. There were loads of them. Some jumped at me as I ran inside, so I dodged out of the way, but ended up sprawling into this pile of boxes that I thought were case files.
Do one of them have a
Instead,
fire extinguisher in
I
it?
found myself lying on top of a whole bunch of CO2 canisters, which are damn hard, by the way.
Ouch.
The worms were still coming,
But, like,
so
awesome.
I used them. I went full gas Rambo. After that, my memory gets a bit fuzzy. I think the paramedic called it respiratory acidosis, from breathing in all the carbon dioxide rather than your more traditional oxygen. I remember finishing the first few extinguishers, killing the things, but they kept coming, so I grabbed a few more and saw the massive hole in the wall. There didn't seem much point in staying, so I went into the tunnels. They were cold, dry.
Are they the same tunnels?
You know that worm smell, that earthy, rotten smell? Oh, yes. Well, yeah. There weren't so many down there. I think they were almost all in the archives. I have a theory, actually. I think they weren't ready to attack when you found the tunnels. It's like something in the Institute slows them down and makes them, sluggish.
Lol.
And that noise they make, that squirming sound, they don't make it when they're in the tunnels. I don't know why. It was only when they came into the Institute, maybe the light or the aircon or something, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna pretend this doesn't look like my Agent Washington.
They've been down there for months.
He's dark. I'm giving him darker hair.
Building up their numbers until there were enough to properly bury us.
Oh, yikes.
Except you found that hidden passage, and they had to act.
Maybe.
Because he killed a spider?
Could you describe the tunnels?
You were there.
Humor me.
I remember they sloped down and up and around. I couldn't keep track of where I was. I did see some more worms, though. They were fast. I only saw a couple. It was still proper jump scare territory. I got them, though. It was really surreal. I only had my phone's torch. It was hard to keep an eye out. I was so lightheaded. I wandered for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes before I found a wall that seemed different. It looked like someone had just put some plasterboard over an entrance. I could hear you and Martin on the other side. I broke through, and, well, you were there for the rest.
Quite. You weren't there when Martin found the body, though, were you?
No. I was quarantined, same as you.
And you didn't see it in the tunnels when you were first exploring?
No. I did see... maybe... What? No, it's just...
Say it.
I think I was still gassed and it was
Say it.
dark, but
Say it.
I found a room.
Go on.
I didn't stay long.
I know
because
what that
it had
music
a lot
means.
of worms in it, and they weren't acting like the others.
I know what that music
They were
means.
sort of wrapping around each other, like they were trying to form a thing, like a structure or something.
Voltron.
A ring.
I'm sorry.
I was probably still out of my skull and half hallucinated the whole thing, but it looked like they were trying to make a doorway.
Doorway? Is it still there?
Let's think
No.
with portals.
I pumped 2 full extinguishers into that room. Nothing was getting out.
John's like, of course you did.
Good. Go home, Tim.
He's disappointed.
Get some sleep.
But he shouldn't be.
Yeah, sure.
They could all have a sleepover.
Statement of Sasha James,
Aha.
archival assistant at the Magnus Institute,
Great time.
regarding the invasion
Timing
by
on my
the
part.
entity formerly known as Jane Prentice. Statement recorded direct from subject, 29th July 2016. In your own time.
Yes. Where do you want me to begin? I was with you until I ran out to save Tim. Then we were separated and I fled into the Institute proper. I pulled the fire alarm because the worms were following me and I didn't want anyone else to get hurt. I went to Elias, we talked. We were going to save you, but the worms came and I fled into the artifact storage room. You know I hate the artifact storage room, so it must have been bad.
You used to work there, didn't you?
Yes, for 3 months. It was dreadful. I used to think that it was the most dangerous place in the Institute.
Not anymore.
Yes, not anymore. It was safe enough. The worms didn't get in, and I stayed there until the fire system deployed. Then I ran out to get to a window. I saw the worms in the main institute. They shriveled and died. I don't think I'll ever forget that scream, though. I could hear Prentice screaming even from there.
Well, it's thanks to you, to be honest. If you hadn't met that Michael thing...
Yes, Michael, with the bones in his hands. We still don't know much about him, do we?
No, not yet. Sorry, getting distracted. You got as far as Jane Prentice's death.
John wants to get stuff done now.
I returned to the archives, and all the worms were dead. You and Tim were lying there, but you weren't moving. You just lay there. The dead worms still half inside you. The trapdoor was open next to you, and more were inside. I went over to check, and you were alive, so I pulled you back to where there was more air, and began to remove the worms. Are you all right?
Sorry.
She's very casual about this.
To hear, you know.
Yes, I understand.
Or kind of monotone about
That was
it.
when Elias arrived with the fire brigade and the doctors and the hazmat people. They talked to me for a long time, and I did my best to explain the situation. They checked me for worm marks, but I was fine. They took you away, so I waited with Elias. He was looking at me strangely, but we were both quiet. It had been a very strange day.
I'm listening to her strangely.
After an hour or so, we heard cries from the trapdoor. It was Martin. He was shouting about a body. We got him out, and Elias tried to get him to calm down and explain.
This isn't how
He
paper
said he
works.
had found the body of the previous archivist, Gertrude Robinson. And that was when Elias called the police. I tried to calm him down, but he was in bad shape. The police arrived, and I gave them pretty much the same statements.
Right.
She's weirdly
What about
calm.
the tape? You had the tape recorder, the one I'd just recorded Mr. Romeo's statement on. But when you gave it back, it was empty.
Yes. I dropped it a few times. The eject button must have been hit. I didn't notice until you pointed it out. It's probably around somewhere. Is it that important?
It's important to me. Are you feeling all right? You seem a bit out of it.
Yes. I am very tired. It's hard to keep track of things sometimes.
Go get some rest, Sasha.
Yes, I will.
I mean, I already told the police.
Well, now tell me. I need to hear it. I need to record it.
Right.
Are you okay? Fine. Painkillers are starting to wear off, but it's fine. Statement of Martin Blackwood, archival assistant, etc., etc. Go.
Right. Well, I was doing some background checks for case 0081709 when you and
he knows
Sasha
the number.
started screaming.
Yes. I was there. I was with you for almost the whole time, and that tape survived just fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. I only need from when you got separated, from when you got lost in the tunnel.
Sorry I left you. It was an accident. I thought you two were with me. I mean, the worms came at us, and they were so much faster, and then there was the gas, and the running, and I thought you were right behind me. When I turned around, you were gone. You were both gone. It was an accident.
I know, it's fine, Martin. Everyone's fine. I just need you to tell me what happened next, and then it's finished.
Alright. So, yeah, we got separated, so I tried shouting, but you didn't answer. The walls seemed to kill the sound dead, and there wasn't any echo. They were old stone, like really old, and there was no light except my torch. I always keep my torch on me, ever since I moved into the archive, so I had that at least. I wondered for a while. It's a maze down there, John. I don't know how far the passages go, maybe miles. I think it must be the old Millbank prison, like Tim was saying before. I even found some stairs at one point, but I really didn't want to go down them. I hadn't seen any worms for a few minutes, and weirdly enough, that actually started to worry me. Like, if there weren't any worms, then I'd gone too far from the Institute. There was more dust in those corridors too, and dead rats. Even some discarded wine bottles. At one point, there was an empty packet of mint Imperials.
Martin,
trying to go back. Not that I knew what back even meant down there when I heard the scream. I don't even know how to go about describing it, but I thought, I hoped. Well, when I started to find the shriveled bodies of worms all over the place, I knew she was dead. So I wanted to get out of there. I was looking for a way up, but it felt more and more like I was trapped. Every turn just led me to another empty corridor. When I finally found a door, I thought it might actually get out, but instead...
He sounds like he's gonna cry.
A small room.
It's hurting me.
Square. There was dust on everything. Cardboard boxes were piled around. They were full of old cassette tapes.
That's where you found her?
Yes. She was sat in a wooden chair in the middle of the room. No worms, no cobwebs, just an old corpse. Gertrude Robinson. She was slumped forward.
If it's been this
I could see
long,
her mouth hanging open.
how is her body recognizable?
So I ran.
Holy crud.
I found the trapdoor soon afterwards.
Did you find the room again?
I don't know. Maybe. The police certainly expect me to, although I get the feeling they're not too keen to
Well, they
explore
don't
the
have it.
Martin, how did Gertrude Robinson die?
I don't know. Not for sure. It was so dark, and I only saw the body for a few seconds. The police were quite clear that the cause of death could be absolutely anything.
Martin, how did she die?
She was shot. 3 times that I could see. 3 shots to the chest.
Right. Right. Thank you, Martin.
Sure.
Gertrude Robinson, the last archivist of the Magnus Institute and my predecessor, was murdered. There were no worms to infest her, no strange, ghostly apparitions to warp her mind or caves to entomb her.
Though she was found
She
in a
was
cave.
killed in the archives by someone who used a gun. And that scares me far more than any spectre or twisted creature. Because that means someone here is a killer. The police will investigate thoroughly, I have no doubt, but given their track record in this matter, I am not optimistic. There is something in these files, in these statements.
Wait, no, it's definitely Elias. Okay.
I know
Put his,
that now,
put his face on my
deep
conspiracy board.
mystery. I think Gertrude Robinson found it, and I think that
Twig.
is why they killed her.
This man is Twig.
Some of my tapes are missing. Maybe it was Prentice, but she seemed more interested in the written files, and the other tapes seemed fine. There's no sign of debris or anything that would indicate they've been destroyed.
Which tapes?
In addition to the tapes Sasha lost earlier, the tapes for cases 0051701 and 0160204 are gone. I don't know why these two specifically, but I cannot trust anyone.
I need someone to tell me which tapes those are, because,
I'm going to figure this out.
I mean, I know it's the dates,
I'm
but
not
like,
going to stop. I
man,
have to kill me
on
first.
a mission. Ooh.
End recording.
Oh, snap.
The Magnus Archives will return on Thursday, 1st of December, 2016. Season 1 has featured Jonathan Sims as the archivist, Alexander J. Newell as Martin Blackwood, Mike LeBeau as Tim Stoker, Lottie Broomhall as Sasha James, Ben Meredith as Elias Bouchard, Lydia Nicholas as Melanie King, Martin Corcoran as Dr. Lionel Elliott and Bregan, Stephen Violich as Hope, Katie Davison as Naomi Hearn, Hannah Brankin as Jane Prentice and Laura Popham, and Evelyn Hewitt as Not Sasha. The series was produced by Alexander J.
That's a not Sasha?
and Laurie Porter. It
What?
was written by Jonathan Sims and directed by Alexander J. Newell. This podcast is distributed by Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike International License.
That's such a
For more
mouthful.
information,
By the
visit
way.
rustyquill.com. Thanks for listening.
You're welcome. Ari, you've done this to me. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Did you hear that mew? It was so cute.
This is Acast Recommends. Every week we pick one of our
Did I catch
shows,
the...
and this is sports.com.
Okay, I'm seeing now that you told me to listen to the credits carefully. Did I catch the thing that you wanted me to catch? Said not Sasha! Worm Voltron still better than DreamWorks Voltron? Aw, rip. There were some good things about that show. It wasn't all terrible. I didn't like but you know, but also okay, I am thirsty. Okay, sweet. Not Sasha. Okay, so whenever I picture John reading a thing, I've been picturing him going into like full theater mode, like he was a theater student, which I still fully believe. But also, maybe there's a spook behind it. I don't know. My computer screen's getting warm because I've been streaming for so long. I'm going to do the Q&A. Baby's sleeping. A burp. Burp. Tasted like garlic. I'm going to do the Q&A, I think, and then by the time I get through that, my sister will probably be on her way home, and it'll be about Owl's dinner time. Which side of the thumb does this pen go on? I'm not actually sure. That's terrible. I'm really proud of this hand. I don't want to get rid of these scribbles. I'll get rid of this one. But I stand by these. What happened to Sasha? I'm gonna be so upset if she's dead. I'll be very sad. Like, I hadn't gotten particularly attached to Sasha yet, but I was ready to. This hand is just so small. Why is this? Why are you the way that you are? Yeah. I guess I did draw you into existence. Okay, 10 more minutes. Okay. You asked me that, but like, probably knowing the answer, but I don't know the answer. Did she get like, she was looking at the table, and the table, oh frick, is it like, oh, I forgot the guy's name again. Oh frick. Is one of the missing tapes the one with the table? Because, okay, I need to make a sentence. Because the thing with the table was that the guy disappeared and got replaced by, I can't remember his name. You've told me what his name is twice. It starts with a G. Gerard? No. You have corrected me on that one. But the Graham, that's it. Because it was not Graham. And now there's not Sasha. And not Sasha could look completely different from Sasha, right? Because no one else knew the different. Frick. You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing your friend. Okay, strange music and distortion. I gotta look up. Yes, Graham. Okay. Hold on, let me pull up. I need the summaries. I've only listened to like 40 episodes in the last week. Was strange music the one with the organ? Regarding anti-Callium? Yeah. And then distortion was statement of Sasha. Would that be... Oh. Didn't... Okay. So not... I hope you're having a good time. So not Sasha had just a different voice actor, then they would have gotten rid of the original Sasha tape or this Sasha statement tape because someone might go back and listen to it and hear that it's a different Sasha, which would be why she wouldn't give the tape, because it would have a different voice. I'm dying. At this rate, I'm gonna have an actual conspiracy board. Okay. I don't know. Your smiley faces. I see smiley faces. While I sit here dying. I'm really proud of this, John. Oh, it's got the sketch lines for the glasses I gave him. Yes, I gave him such baby eyes. Doop. Baby face. Am I just gonna have to draw a completely different, not Sasha? It got to her so fast too, unless I think she didn't seem like she looked at it before. Graham had a lot more time with the table. But then I don't know how it works, so that baby is twitching in his sleep. He does that because his muscles are learning how to be muscles, I think. That's the stupid version of that, but I don't like these pants. Oh well. Does it matter? She's probably dead. These eyes that I drew are cracking me up. I'm not allowed to crack up myself. Okay, I want this sweater to have that, like, this pattern. You know what I mean. I just want to draw it so much. We bear his baby. Okay, I see that you messaged that that's not what you meant, but I don't remember what I was saying when you said that. This needs stripes. Do we want the full stripe treatment? Just the partial stripe treatment. This is an actual quote from the show. We bear. Legally. I can't remember how to spell. Legally cannot be killed. I put the episode number. Episode 37. We bear legally cannot be killed. Legally. If they kill him, I'm calling the police. I'm pretty sure you were crying while yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I getcha. Okay, I might adjust this so that I can see the chat on the side. And that you guys can see me seeing the chat on the side. now that I've actually listened to the episodes. I'm still gonna do the Q&A. Martin would do more. He would. The homeboy went through like one bad experience, and he's like, now I sleep with a corkscrew, and of course I had a torch on me at all times. Good. He would. Survival horror movie. Okay. Put this in the corner. This is gonna look weird for you guys for a second. Okay, really do gotta start listening, because I'll run into Howl's dinner time. Let me adjust to full screen. Whoa. Okay. Okay, I'm excited. He's so prepared. Okay, let's... He did have the... I was so stoked when he landed on the boxes. Like, the extinguishers are there! Ah! I'm such a sucker for crap like that. Like at the end of Knives Out. I don't want to say that in case you haven't seen Knives Out. Knives Out's really good. It's one of my favorite movies. Everyone should watch it. Okay, I'm going to start the Q&A, but I can see you guys talking now, so... Please don't tell me. Come tell me later when I've listened to it. Probably when the show's already over, but like... Yeah. Okay. That was weird. I shouldn't have done it so many times. Whatever, it's too late. I'll suffer. An embarrassment. I didn't give her any shoes. Oh, is this in the dead part of my screen? It super is. Shoot. Hold on.
I'm Alexander J. Newell, director of the Magnus Archives podcast and voice of Martin on the show. And with me I have...
Jonathan Sims, though you probably know me better as Jonathan Sims.
And we are here doing a Q&A session for all of the most asked questions from the fan base, and as a way of thanking everyone as well for listening so far.
So in that vein, thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
you're welcome.
Questions, and Johnny's never heard any of these before, so we'll see what he makes of them. Number one, Johnny, is that your real voice?
I've been asked this a lot, actually, and there are several comments around the internet I have actually stumbled across claiming that I'm putting on a bad British accent. And it is, of course, true.
In my defense, I've been doing a lot of work on my final projects for school. For why I've gone through it so quickly. But also, it's real good. It's real good. I paused it so I could respond. Now I'm... Okay, hold on.
My name is Earl Big Mac. I'm from Pennsylvania. And no, it's my real voice. I change it a little bit. Obviously I do lower it a bit and go a little bit drier, a little bit more academic, yes, for Jonathan. But it is my real voice and my real accent.
Funnily, no one asks if all of the other characters, their voices are real.
No, apparently they sound genuine, even though we've largely conjured them out of the meat.
So, how long have you been planning this? Is it something you've always wanted to do? Were you actively seeking an opportunity out for a long time, or did you have the idea more recently?
That's sort of a difficult question, I guess, because I've been in the back of my mind thinking of horrible things for as long as I've been writing. Most of my short stories
I'm excited to basically listen to this whole show straight through.
Would be horror of some sort. In terms of the Magnus Archives itself, it wasn't actually something I'd planned much until we started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When I started working with Alex, he very much said, "What do you want to write?" To which my answer was horror anthology, which is how the Magnus Archives started, and then the overarching, the conceit that kept it all together, very much spiraled off into what we now know as the Magnus Archives.
Mm-hmm. With that in mind, how did you specifically get into writing, and how did you craft the story? Not in a spoilery sense, but did you start with the main event and work backwards? Have you let it grow over time? Basically, is it like all of the corkboards and string that everyone has at home?
I'll start with the first
Called me out.
which is writing has always been sort of where I feel my strength lies. So it's always been something that I've tried to do and tried to make myself do. There's quite a lot of several years where I've done very little except tell people, oh yes, no, I'm a writer.
Oh, mood.
I love the process of creating. I hate the process of actually putting things down on the page, but
Mood.
it's what you've got to do. So the answer is always, really. In terms of the story itself, I started by spinning out the central conceit. Once I'd figured out I wanted this meta-narrative, most of the very early stories are ones that have been brewing for a few years, to be honest. So a lot of what has turned into the meta plot came from what themes I liked from there, spinning them out. Then I crafted the ending, as in the ending of season 5. I hate
Oh gosh, he knows.
have an end goal. Oh yeah. I'm 100% about closed arcs. And
Bless.
there's no way I was going to sit down and write a sprawling epic metaplot unless I knew where it was finishing. Yeah. And since then, aspects of the end have shifted slightly with the writing because they always do, but I still know where it's going.
Yeah, like there's a fixed endpoint for this, which is always the goal. Okay, another question for you. Do you know exactly where everything will end up in the story, or have you introduced a few threads where you're not sure how they're going to resolve, and just have it as a throwaway thing that you might use later?
The answer to that question largely depends on when in season 1 you're asking it, to be honest. Right at the beginning, most things were, to one degree or another, casting a line out.
Yeah.
I would have a story, there would be a few aspects of it that I quite liked and plans to revisit later, and as season 1 progressed, linking some of those up gave me the structure to spin out into, I now have virtually the entire story, the entire world, planned to one degree or another.
Yeah. How did you start to work with Rusty Quill? A lot of people don't really know how the organisation works. Were you just friendly beforehand, things like that? How did you end up working with us?
There was a car boot sale down my road 2 years ago, and I mean, I'd never considered myself the sort of person that would buy a Ouija board, but I perform with a somewhat lunatic stage show called The Mechanisms, which is mythic space pirate musical cabaret, and most years we do.
That's a description.
So about 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it was about 2 years.
Alex, who I sort of knew through a few people vaguely, ended up coming to one of our shows and saw it and really liked it.
Yep.
So when Alex started up Rusty Quill, he messaged us and said, basically with an open offer, would you like to work with Rusty Quill at all? The band as a whole, largely because there's no way to produce the sort of thing we do at speed enough to be useful in a podcast sense.
You could get one episode every 6 months, maybe.
But I said, I've been thinking of starting up a horror podcast for a while, and Alex said, great, it'll need a meta plot.
I forget what Gerald was talking about.
Much.
That made me think about it.
How far in advance do you write the podcast?
I've-
There's obviously an overarching
My memory's
plot,
not great.
but when do you flesh it out? Do you
I'd look it
just
up on Discord, but I don't
churn
want
them at
to
a
pull it up
time?
while I'm
Do you have
streaming.
bits of episodes floating around and put them together? How do you assemble them?
For season 1, any given episode will probably have been written somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks before you actually hear it.
Oh no, I read that wrong. I was trying to read and speak at the same time. Oh, the British accent. Okay. I getcha. I gotcha. Yes. Yeah. No, I just stopped myself before I made a Dungeons and Daddies reference. Power. And then I proceeded to not stop myself.
With season 2, I've actually sat down and planned it all out in a lot more detail, so I now know what the actual episodes are going to be about.
Well, ultimately as well, from a production standpoint, I mean, season 1 was entirely new territory. It was completely exploratory. We didn't know if people were going to like it. So ultimately, there was an element of seeing what worked, I think.
Oh, yeah, and the murder.
Writing more stuff down. Season 1 was incredibly intricate.
What's happening in the UK?
Largely lived entirely inside my head. A couple of the episodes which are dreamlike in tone, because they were written to be dreamlike. Others are a bit dreamlike in tone because it was very late at night when they were written.
So this is a follow-on question.
Mood.
How long does it take you to write
Me,
one story? Would you say,
writing
Enter?
chapter
In
7
terms
is
of
mine never
just
matter.
keyboard time, maybe 5 to 6 hours for a first draft, and then 2 hours to edit it and go over. In terms of actual planning, I will generally have an idea and then be constantly churning it over in the back of my mind for about a week, so that when I finally come to write it, I have a much more complete idea of what's going on and how it's going to shape up.
So another question here. How do you prepare to record an episode? Alex directs, but what does that involve? They're interested in the technical and the performing aspects of this. So before we get into the technical, on to your side, we are about to record an episode. How do you prepare for that, beyond just obviously writing some of the content?
Well, obviously I've been fasting for a few days to purify the blood. To be honest, largely it involves just sitting there and reading the first few paragraphs in the archivist voice to get my head in the right space for actually reading it.
So from my perspective, obviously there's an element of setup involved. We use various amounts of equipment I won't go into here. But once all of the mics and equipment are set up, what we'll tend to do is we'll sit down and we'll just run through the episode very quickly and decide if anything unusual has to happen in performance, and we'll address how that's happened, so changes in voice, pitch, things like that.
If there's any soundscaping.
Soundscaping, yeah. And then beyond that, the only other thing that really takes a lot of time with prep is when you have multicast recording. Because that slows that process down a lot, because then you have to sort of go line by line, make sure people understand the intent of the lines, how do you say that, how do you project that, and then we're into more sort of basically the nuances of it, rather than just the sort of get it down, get it recorded.
Yeah, the last episodes of the first season were easily the most complicated. We were doing an actual audio drama rather than an audio drama-esque anthology series.
Yeah. Following on, feel we've already addressed this a bit. Are there any Magnus bloopers? Has Jonathan Sims ever laughed?
Ever? No.
No, I laugh a lot. I laugh uproariously. Some might say that I laugh too much.
Not many?
No, I've never actually heard it, but I assume
And they're dead now.
I assume they say it.
But in all seriousness, from the production side,
in a really condescending tone over and over. That's really funny. I'm still... Jen, you gotta go back to when I was listening to episode 40 in Tim's statement, because he said a thing and I just started cracking up. I don't know how long I was laughing for. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to myself laugh like an idiot. Anyway, it's like coming down off adrenaline and then someone says something stupid. It's just the funniest thing in the world. Anyway.
Do have a few recorded gaffes, but we're not intending to release them anytime soon. Mainly because it's a bit of a mood killer.
Also, I'm very sweary in real life. That sounds like a joke.
Sweary.
A relatively deadpan person, but it's not. I'm very sweary, and this is meant to have a brackets clean rating on iTunes. So no rude words. I could say bums maybe, but I won't.
So again, discussing some more of the production side, when putting together an episode like Hide,
Ari's
how do we
enjoying
get
my
the
suffering.
SFX? What goes into making those SFX? So a lot of our sound effects will come from online archives. I can't recommend enough things like freesound.org, and there's a few other sites similar to that. Sometimes if you require a really specific sound, something that you just can't find elsewhere, you go out and you do some Foley. truth be told, that happens less often than you think. Like I said, those archives are quite good, and you can get quite good at taking a sound and turning it into something that it's not. For instance, I won't tell people how we make the worm sounds, but it just involves a lot of pasta. Lots of pasta.
Delicious.
The way he says.
Have you ever considered your fixation with invasive worms from a Freudian perspective?
I'm sure I don't know what you mean. The idea of pulsating, writhing, elongating worms tunneling into flesh is...
Oh, stop.
I mean, it's just good horror, really. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll skip past that one. I don't really know what the game is.
Nonsense, really.
What are your fears?
Well, quite a lot, to be honest. I feel that it's very hard to write good horror unless you're writing something that, to one degree or another, scares you a bit.
Absolutely.
If you yourself don't have just a little tingle of fear at the back of your mind when you're writing it, it's probably not as scary as it could be. So a lot of these do come from... They might not be huge fears of mine, but
He just wants to make you spaghetti.
Freak me out to one degree or another. Trypophobia, obviously, is quite a significant
the one that we share.
Which is where a lot of Jane Prentice comes from.
I'd say certainly the episodes that are grabbing people the most, it seems, online are the ones that tend to be quite universal and honestly quite simple. So things like fear of falling, fear of darkness, fear of the stranger.
The cave episode.
So a lot of these are... It's marrying as universal a fear as you can with the specifics of what scares you. So taking your own fear and making it transferable.
Yeah.
So you listen to any episode and you can probably glean a nugget of what scares me.
It's been confirmed that you like M.R. James. So with that in mind, what's your favourite story of his, and do you have any other literary inspirations?
I mean, it's called the Magnus Archives. the show is called the Magnus Archives. It's Count Magnus. That's why the show is called the Magnus Archives.
It's a reference.
There are others that I'm very fond of from M.R. James. Weirdly enough, I have a really specific soft spot for a school story because it is possibly the most minimalist ghost story I've encountered that's managed to have a really significant effect on me.
So, inspirations other than M.R. James?
I've got a real soft spot for old school creepypasta.
Who doesn't?
When I used to work nights, there'd be some weeks where I didn't fully adjust to the daytime, and I'd spend almost a whole week in the dark listening to creepypasta or...
I couldn't live like that.
Weird blogs or just going through creepy pictures and just working myself into a real state.
I mean, interestingly,
Why?
I remember the first time you pitched the Magnus Archives to us, and you described it as M.R. James meets creepypasta for a start, and you also referenced ionized yeast.
What?
That's because
I don't know what that is.
Again, when I was working night shifts, I lived off the generation of horror podcasting before ours.
Mm-hmm.
So Pseudopod, who are still going strong, and the early seasons of No Sleep, Knife Point Horror, and also I used to delve into radio archives, and one of them from the 1940s was a show called Lights Out, and it was very much of the time, but it was mostly sponsored by ionized yeast. And every episode there'd be like a minute-long, unique ionized yeast advert about how if you're only feeling half alive and you were too old and tired for your job at the war factory, I sure am discouraged.
So there you have it then. The primary influence of the Magnus Archives is wartime horror.
It's ionized yeast. I mean, I'll be honest, Alex, I've always said that you look remarkably low on vitamin B and iron. You could put on 8, 10 or more pounds of good new flesh.
Moving on.
Flesh! Why he used the word flesh?
The story itself. Why, narratively rather than canonically, does the Magnus Institute only collate information and not engage with their learnings beyond supplementary clarification investigation?
It's largely because the sort of horror stories I want to tell are standalone. They are the experiences of an individual when confronted with something sinister and inexplicable. to actively follow up with the encounters would turn it into, it would turn it into something that's more along the lines of the X-Files.
Yes.
Which is a very valid and excellent form of horror, but not the one that I'm trying to write. Also, it's useful from an audience point of view to not need to say, go back and listen to everything, or you just won't understand what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Another question, same kind of lines. How large is the Magnus Institute as an organisation?
Couldn't you?
There are between 80 and 100 staff in total. Very few of them are focused on the archives.
Hold on, I want to hear that again.
As an organisation,
there are between 80 and 100 staff in total.
Oh, yeah. Another question, same kind of lines. How large is the Magnus Institute as an organisation?
There are between 80 and 100 staff in total.
That is bigger than I thought.
Very few of them are focused on the archives.
Well,
I think probably the core staff is maybe 40.
Okay, now this is a bit of a specific one we have to drill down to. So, you've been very specific in the Magnus Archives about the reasons that Sims is recording on tape, but how does the sound play into this? It's an interesting idea that some things are so fundamentally unnatural that they would cause corruption to recordings of it. But what about the music that plays for the atmosphere? Is that an actual thing that's on the tapes and thus canonical? Or is it just something for the listeners? Now, that's something that I might jump in on a little bit. So,
please do.
When Johnny originally pitched the Magnus Archives to me, there was a period of testing where we actually ran a few episodes that will never see the light of day. And what we were doing is seeing what sounded right. And part of that was to do with the sound of it. So we did versions of the archives without the tape deck, just to test. I didn't like it. I think that it's got a sort of lo-fi charm. And then we tried doing them with the music, and we found that the music added something. Ultimately, from sort of the directorial standpoint, I've always had it that the music is not part of the actual recordings.
Okay, that's what I thought.
However, the tape deck, the distortions, the sound effects of things actually happening, the voices of the people within there are part of the actual files. The only thing that was added is music, and the main reason for that is it needed something to fill out that sound a little bit and just give it a little bit of pop.
Everything that you hear is on the actual tape within the world of the Magnus Archives, except the music.
Yeah.
And just to say, we do not mean to say that there are lost episodes of Magnus out there. It was largely the first few episodes we just did over and over again in various formats.
Yeah, we just did multiple permutations, so you've not missed anything, I'm afraid.
Baby
Okay, now we're heading a bit more into the sort of fan-basey kind of questions, things to do with that. So with that in mind, what's it like having the ability to interact so closely with your fan base? Would you do it again?
It's fascinating, gratifying, and it holds me to account. I don't think it's even a question of would I do it again. The answer is yes, but moreover, the way that content is created these days, I don't think a creator has an option but to engage with the community that builds up around what you do, unless you deliberately remove yourself.
I mean, certainly you've said this to me before, which is that an element of the Magnus Archives was tying yourself to a rock and then throwing that rock off a cliff, and you've just got to keep riding rope.
Yeah, exactly. And the fans in the community are a big part of that. And I don't want any of that to sound like I don't love the community massively. It's really gratifying to see that something you've created has hooked people.
Well, absolutely. There's an element, though, that once you're accountable to those fans, it does help keep getting that pen to the paper, doesn't it?
Exactly, because it's not just me I'm responsible to. Also, it is very useful in terms of writing a story like this to see which bits of the mystery, which sort of threads are picked up. There are, I won't say who, but there are a couple of people on the various sites and message boards that I keep an eye on, because I feel that if I write something and they don't spot it, it's possibly a bit too subtle. Maybe I need to make it a bit more overt in a future episode.
That feels kind of smart for figuring out your own.
I'll keep an eye on them in case I've made a mistake somewhere.
Foreshadowing.
They will let me know.
Following on from that, another question to do with something similar. How do you feel about the level of scrutiny that your work gets from listeners? Does all of the checking and fact-checking and so on outweigh the positivity of listening to people on the forums going into their own theories in depth?
I mean, that makes it sound like having that level of scrutiny and being called to account when I make a mistake isn't a positive. I mean, it feels a lot like if you're writing a final exam, for instance, and you have somebody standing over your shoulder pointing out whenever you make a mistake. You might give them a look and be startled or even annoyed, but it's good because it means that you're not writing unintelligible nonsense. And moreover, especially with a show like the Magnus Archives, where everything is very
I love his attitude.
and everything needs to be internally consistent. Yeah, I can't be allowed to make mistakes because that's not fair. It's straight up not fair to ask people to try to figure out a mystery I'm spinning out and then constantly make mistakes, get dates wrong, or feed people false information.
Do you have any plans to break the mold of your current narrative style? It seems like there would be some difficulty in telling the current arc without more live-action style narrative sequences.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that question came in before the finale of Season 1 came out. Generally, as the series goes on, there will be more of that. At its core, it will still remain one episode, one statement, one story.
That's what I figured.
And the last question we've got, actually, let's try and avoid spoilers.
Okay.
What would you say is the biggest challenge that is facing you in Season 2?
Balancing horror and mystery.
Oh, yes.
Because fundamentally, you see a lot of horror mystery series that start off extremely strong and peter out a bit because at the beginning, horror and mystery are fantastically good together.
Oh, yeah.
Because they both rely on the unknown so heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And so the unknown feeds the horror and entices the mystery. But as it goes on, the mystery needs to get answers, otherwise you feel cheated, whereas the horror needs to stay unknown, because if you get all the answers to what the horror is, it's no longer scary, and if everything stays unknown and horrific, then you don't get any answers to the mystery. So I would say the biggest challenge is trying to keep everything unknown and scary, while at the same time providing enough answers to the mystery that people are willing to stay around and learn more. And there are answers. You won't learn the answers to everything. There are some small mysteries that will never be known, but a lot of the why, the what, the who, they will, in time, come to light.
So I think that about wraps us up here. Thanks again, Johnny, for all of your time. If you'll just go back into the hole, you can carry on writing all the rest of Season 2. No, not for you. But thanks to everyone who's been listening so far.
Rip Johnny.
It's completely blown us away, the response that we've had from everyone. We weren't expecting this kind of following, and it's
remotely.
It's an amazing thing to happen. But if people are able to, please do leave reviews on iTunes and podcast services.
Oh, it's okay. I'm a weenie. If it gets less scary,
to a smaller operation,
I mean,
be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter at the Rusty
I won't.
the subreddit.
I don't know.
Our forums at the website.
It would lose something, but like,
At the moment for a couple of the categories in the audio
I might live.
Which are voting is open till the 6th of November for the semi-finals, I believe. So if you get a chance to pop on there and give us a vote, that would be massively appreciated.
Again, the response we've had from fans has been amazing, and anything that you're able to do in that would be a huge help to us. And if you cannot wait, if you cannot hold on, if you cannot
why this
3 tones until the beginning of Season 2, you have actually recorded something with us to stay people over.
It is the Halloween special for the gaming podcast. Yep. I'm running Deadlands, which is a horror western setting, which I'm very fond of. It's a lot of fun, and go over there and listen to it. Do it now.
You can find that on all the podcast services that you normally use for Magnus Archives. Just look Rusty Quill Gaming Podcast. And I think that about wraps us up. So thanks again.
What if I
look
just
forward to seeing you again for Season 2.
See you then.
There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna keep listening at a pace of 2 episodes, and then hold on, I gotta download some more. 2 episodes, and then a Sawbones, and then a Dungeons and Daddies. As to not spook myself too badly.
This is Acast Recommends.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
We pick one of our favorite
Did the
shows.
mean ad lady wake you up?
YouTube, or your podcast app.
Did you guys hear that squeak?
Acast is home to the podcast from the U.S.
Sorry, baby. Actually, I gotta feed you dinner soon. I think I will probably finish this off camera. And then post it on Tumblr. Oh, this thing is not where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna have to fix that with a mouse. Shoot. No, stop. I am really happy with how these have turned out. I'm on the fence about Sasha. Tim is gonna grow on me. I can feel it. It's almost his dinner time. What do your kitty ears hear? Petting Owl is like yawn, feeling an aloe vera sock. He's so soft. The softest baby. You waking up? He's on my lap. He's cleaning. I think that was my guts. Like, yeah, my eyes are up here. Oh, they're not. Jeez. He has an amount of frat boy energy, which I didn't realize I'd enjoy so much. Baby. He's awake and he's looking at me. Oh, yawn. I should probably go ahead and turn this off before baby messes with my screen. Because it can read his tokens. Where are you going, buddy? When was the last time you peed? He doesn't speak English. Anyway, thank you for listening to me die. I would stream for longer, but I really do need to make sure that I feed him. He only gets better, heck yes. And maybe do some of this week's drawing homework. I spent so much of today working on final projects for other classes. I barely touched it. Yeah, so I'm not a cool YouTuber with some sort of stream sign off, but I love you. Take care of yourselves. Owl says good night. He's crawling across my chest. He's hungry. Say good night, Owl. He's itching his ear. Yeah, he does squeak on command. Okay. I will message you guys later. Thank you for listening to me scream. Have a good night. He's running off toward my room. He wants food. Okay, bye.